whether you joining us in person or by social media. You know, most of the time we kind of get into, you know, what are we going to do? So one of the things that I find is that we must be two things, or have two things. One is consistency and commitment. And, you know, without consistency, you know, I mean, let's truly think about this. So you get up every morning, and who depends on what you do? Who depends on what you do? So I'll use Superstar. If Sister Peaches didn't get up in the morning and decide I'm just going to take it on in for the day, would she get up? No. Okay. If she just decided I was going to take it in, her job, how many people would be affected if she didn't show up? So how many people that she affect that will be affected after that? How many people at her school will be wondering where she is? How many people do you affect if you stop your routine? If you stop consistently doing what you're doing and being committed? Yeah. How many people? Something to think about, isn't it? Yes. If we go back even further and we think about, and we've said this before, if Pastor Tammy had never went to Rhema, how many people would be affected? I wouldn't know you, Jada. I wouldn't know Brother Harold. I would have never met Aaron. I wouldn't even know Superstar. Wouldn't have met Pastor Tammy, and there would be no tie. There wouldn't be probably a KKMS, but look at the effects. You know, so everything we do in life, that's what it hinges on. Our commitment and consistency, especially our relationship to the Father. You know, have you ever thought about truly, like I said, who depends on you and your routine every day? What it affects? What is your significance? Sit down and think about what your significance is. Everything that you do, everybody that you touch, everybody that comes in contact to you, how do you change your life? I don't care how small it is. You know, my first taste of commitment and consistency is when I joined the military. Everything we did was about policy and procedure. Every soldier depended on each other or one another if we were to be successful. There was no race, there was no creed, there was no color. For survival, we depended on each other. I mean, I was at my first duty station, and just to give you an example, there was a guy down the hall, several of them. They were Klansmen. They had their hoods and everything in their wall lockers. We had gang members because back when I went in, it was either join the military or go to jail. We had those, and back when I was in, it was don't ask, don't tell. All of that going on, but one common denominator is that when it was time to deploy, we were committed to what we had to do, and we were consistent. None of that mattered, because I got to depend on you and you got to depend on me, which is where we are today. If you look at the body of Christ, if you think about the body of Christ, what's the difference? What's the difference? So, you know, the thing about when I got out of the military, here's where it just really, really got me when I really started thinking about the body of Christ. So my first job is I got into the automotive industry. Got into an industry where a car is produced every 63 seconds. So this is one automotive plant, and a car is produced every 63 seconds. But you just think about, you know, how many cars that is. But at the same time, there were policies and procedures that we had to abide by. And if you don't follow the policies and procedures, there's some potential issues, flaws, or corrections that have to be made. And we had an incident there. There was this one gentleman. You know, at the stamping plant. And the stamping plant is where they take pieces of steel and they stamp them in the doors, hoods, or whatever have you. Well, sometime they would get jammed up, and the policy says to turn off the machine, remove the jam, and start the machine back. Well, the size of the die or the stamp was about the size of this wall behind me. So you just picture this wall being a big block of steel that came together with a press to make a door on a car. And this young man thought he could dodge in the middle and get it out before it came together. Policy and procedure. Consistency, commitment. That wasn't consistency because that's not how he was taught. Are you committed to doing the right thing, which was taught? But he lost his life because he chose to run in there and try to pull the piece out before the press went back together. Consistency, policy, procedure, and commitment. So the next job I get into the recycle industry. A total different set of policies and procedures. Man, we've got mobile cranes, we have torches, we have balers, we have shredders. The shredder is like is no more than a giant blender that used to blend up steel. The rotor in it runs at 600 miles an hour. So here we are in the automotive industry, every 63 seconds we made a vehicle. Well, when you dropped a car in that shredder, it took 15 seconds to chew it up. Now, policies and procedures. They were working on it, doing maintenance. The procedure was, prior to entering into the chamber, you must lock out. Somebody put a lock on it, and there's a tag on it with his or her name on it, who lock it out before you enter. He thought he could get in there and get the piece out